All right, ready for a deep dive into a real classic.
Always up for a classic. What are we thinking?
Let's head down south.
Oh, down south.
Macomb, Alabama, to be exact.
Hold on.
You mean you got it To Kill a Mockingbird?
A story for the ages.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
We're not just talking plot points. We're going deep with Scout Finch.
Interesting. So we're seeing Macomb through her eyes.
Exactly. All those events, all those big themes.
It's different when it's a kid experiencing them, huh?
Right. Like Scout's innocence, it makes everything more intense, more real.
And heartbreaking sometimes, too.
Oh, absolutely. But that's what makes this book so powerful.
No doubt. So we're diving into those social dynamics, the prejudices, everything Scout sees and tries to make sense of.
Exactly. And we've got the book excerpts right here to guide us.
All right, I'm ready. Take me to Macomb.
Okay. Picture this tired old town, Harper Lee calls it. Dusty streets, those long, hot summer days.
I can practically hear the cicadas now.
Right. And everyone knows everyone else's business. It's that kind of town.
The kind where change comes slow, if at all.
Exactly. And that makes what happens to the Finches even more significant.
Oh, yeah. Atticus Finch. Now there's a man of principle.
Respected lawyer. Family's been in Macomb for generations.
Which makes his choices even more powerful.
Because he's not just some outsider shaking things up.
He's part of the fabric of Macomb.
Exactly. But he's willing to go against the grain, even his own family. Remember Anne Alexandra?
How can I forget? Let's just say she had strong opinions about who the Finches should associate with.
Understatement of the year. And yet, Atticus sticks to his principles, even when it's tough.
A shining example of moral courage, putting justice above everything else.
And you can't talk about To Kill a Mockingbird without mentioning the Radleys.
Oh, especially Boo.
Their whole family, shrouded in mystery. Their house...
like something out of a spooky story.
Totally. Overgrown yard, darkened windows, whispers following them everywhere.
They represent everything the town fears.
The unknown, the different. And then there's the Yules living on the outskirts of town.
The Yules? Now they're the other side of Macomb's coin, aren't they?
Totally. Impoverished, looked down on. The town tolerates them, but...
there's judgment there. You can feel it.
like they're stuck, trapped by poverty and prejudice.
And used, too. Don't forget how their circumstances get exploited.
Which brings us to Scout's education.
Both inside and outside the classroom. Don't forget that.
So true. It's like she's getting two completely different educations at the same time.
Well, she is a bright one. Remember her first day of school?
Oh, yeah. She's already reading, thanks to Atticus.
Yeah.
But Miss Caroline.
Not impressed. Too busy sticking to the rules.
Exactly. Poor Walter Cunningham.
Syrup all over his lunch. Scout had never seen anything like it.
Bless her heart. Thank goodness for Calpurnia.
Calpurnia, what a guiding light in that story.
She tries to teach Scout about empathy,
Oh.
about different walks of life.
Taking them to her church, no, that was an eye-opener for those kids.
Talk about a different world. Scout and Jem, seeing the stark contrast between the black and white communities.
And that experience, it paves the way for everything that follows.
It's like the whole town is holding its breath, waiting.
Waiting?
The trial of Tom Robinson.
Ah, yes, the trial. That's where everything we've been talking about comes to a head. Social hierarchy, racial prejudice, you name it. It all collides in that courtroom.
And poor Scout and Jem. They're watching it all, trying to understand.
Stuck in that segregated balcony, seeing the adults in their lives behaving in ways they never imagined.
It's like their childhood innocence is shattering a little bit with every word, every raised eyebrow.
And those witnesses. Talk about a parade of Macomb's finest. Bob Ewell.
Don't even get me started on Bob Ewell. The way he carries himself, all puffed up with righteous anger.
But you can tell there's something else going on there. Something darker.
He wants to be seen as a victim, but you can just tell he's hiding something.
Oh, absolutely. He's driven by resentment, this need to feel powerful.
Even if it means destroying an innocent man's life to do it.
And Mayella. Don't forget about Mayella. She's a victim too.
You can see it in her eyes. The fear.
Trapped by her circumstances, by her father.
And then there's Tom Robinson.
Quiet dignity. That's what I see when I think about Tom on that stand.
He's respectful, calm, even when the prosecutor's trying to twist his words.
And his story, it just makes more sense
than the Yules ever did. It's heartbreaking.
What gets me is he actually says he felt sorry for Mayella.
Can you imagine being in his position and saying that?
It just shows the impossible situation he's in. Tell the truth, risk everything, lie and betray yourself. There's no winning.
And even with Atticus, that closing argument, I get chills just thinking about it.
Appealing to their humanity, to what's right,
But it's not enough.
That jury, they still find Tom guilty.
It's like a punch to the gut, you know? It's like Scout and Jim's world just shifted on its axis.
That feeling of disillusionment, it's palpable.
Like the grown-ups don't have all the answers after all.
And Bob Ewell, oh, he doesn't just let it go, does he?
No, he does not. Full of rage. Threatening Atticus, spitting.
He wants revenge. Plain and simple.
Even Aunt Alexandra. And she's all about keeping up appearances. She's scared.
She knows what Bob Ewell is capable of.
It's like that trial. It just cracked open Maycomb. Let all the darkness out.
And Halloween night.
The school pageant. Scout, dressed up as a ham, remember?
Lee uses such vivid imagery in that scene. The darkness, the way the sounds are described.
Like something bad is lurking just around the corner.
And then, bam, the attack.
Confusing. Terrifying.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen.
And who comes out of the shadows?
Boo Radley. Our mysterious Boo Radley.
The recluse, the monster under the bed, except he's not a monster at all.
Suddenly, all those stories Scout and Jem told, they're not so funny anymore.
This is real life. And Boo Radley just saved their lives.
And Bob Ewell.
Dead. Killed in the struggle.
But who? Was it Boo Radley? Did he mean to do it? Or was he just trying to protect the kids?
That's the question, isn't it? And that's where Sheriff Tate comes in.
Trying to piece it all together. Figure out if it's an open and shut case or something more complicated.
And Sheriff Tate, he's got a tough job. Because he knows the law.
But he also knows Boo Radley.
Right. He's known Boo his whole life. Knows he's not this monster people make him out to be.
And that's got to weigh on him.
Absolutely. But it puts Atticus in a difficult position, too.
Because Atticus, he believes in the law.
Always has. It's what he built his life on.
So what's he going to do? Stick to his principles, even if it means putting Boo through a trial.
Or will he bend the rules, protect a man who just saved his children's lives?
Man, Harper Lee, she really knew how to twist that knife, didn't she?
No kidding. She forces you to ask those tough questions.
What's more important, the letter of the law or the spirit of it?
Right. And what does justice really look like?
Because in this case, it's not so clear-cut.
No, it's messy, like real life.
And in the end, what does Atticus choose?
He chooses compassion, chooses to protect Boo.
Let's Sheriff Tate handle it his way. Even though it goes against everything Atticus seems to stand for.
It's a powerful moment. Shows that even Atticus, the moral compass of the story, he's not perfect.
He's human. He can make compromises.
And that sometimes protecting the vulnerable. That's the bravest thing you can do.
And then there's that scene with Scout.
Walking Boo home.
She's not scared of him anymore.
No, she sees him for who he really is.
A protector. A good man.
And the way she describes standing on his porch, seeing the world from Boo's point of view.
Heartbreaking.
It's like she finally understands.
Understands that the world isn't black and white.
Yeah.
That there's more to people than what you see on the surface.
And that even the most vulnerable among us, they have value. They deserve our kindness.
It's a powerful message.
Yeah.
One that feels just as relevant today as it did back then.
Maybe even more so.
So as we leave Maycomb, as we say goodbye to Scout and Jem and Atticus and, yes, even Boo Radley.
What are we left with?
Hope, I think. A little bit of hope.
Hope that even in a world filled with prejudice and hate, compassion can still win out.
That even in the darkest of times, there's always light to be found.
And that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard.
Beautifully said. And on that note, folks, we'll leave you to ponder those very ideas. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.